How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be checking out unspoken German rules that you need to know about by the channel Antoinette Emily. So 666 likes. Well, definitely going to be changing that to 667. That wasn't good. Anyways, glad. See, it's good vibes here. We're changing it from bad to good here, right? Links down below for the original video and all that good stuff. Thanks for watching. We're going to check it out. Unspoken rules.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, it is so great to have you. I'm Antoinette, a New Zealander living in Germany.
Okay, New
So
Zealander.
in this video today, I thought I would talk about some of the unspoken or unwritten rules you should know about if you come to Germany. So one of the most challenging things for me as a New Zealander living here has been trying to figure out the cultural and social subtleties. What is considered rude, what's not considered rude, what's considered socially acceptable, what is not socially acceptable.
Right.
This can be super challenging for anybody moving to a new country, and
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, literally anybody going to any country, like almost any country, you're gonna have differences. Even it doesn't even matter like how close you think the countries are. There's gonna be like subtle little things that are still gonna be like way different that you wouldn't even realize until you actually went there. That you wouldn't even see from watching videos or anything like that. You know what I mean?
I've heard the same thing about Germans in New Zealand. We also have a lot of unspoken, unwritten rules in New Zealand, and a lot of Germans have said to me that they struggle to figure these out. And same goes with living in Germany. There are so many little things that Germans instinctively know, and us foreigners have to learn, sometimes the hard way. So in this video today, I'm going to be talking about this and sharing some of the mistakes I've made, and maybe this will help you in the future. Okay, so in
It'll
no
help you.
particular order, an unspoken rule here in Germany is to follow through with what you say, especially if you're making plans. So as a New Zealander in my country, we are pretty casual. We can be pretty spontaneous and last minute when it comes to making plans. It's pretty normal just to ring a friend and say, what are you doing in half an hour? Do you want to catch up for a coffee?
Right.
Or sometimes we don't make plans at all. We'll just rock up to a friend's place and expect to just hang out there. This is not the case in Germany. This is pretty socially unacceptable. Germans really appreciate being given a good amount of notice when it comes to making plans.
I can see both sides and I agree with both sides. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's definitely a lot of times, like right now, trying to get some work done, trying to watch this video with you guys. And, it would be terrible if somebody just randomly stopped by unannounced right now, knocking on the door. It's happened before in the middle of a reaction video. And, it always sucks. So, but at the same time, it is kind of nice every now and then, because here in the United States, it's like that too. Like it can be spontaneous. Maybe not so much laid back as New Zealand. We're probably like in between Germany and New Zealand, I think, the way that, way it goes, but
So, for example, I have a German friend. She's awesome. She's become a very good friend of mine. One thing I've noticed with her is that when we meet up, it is always planned, and it's usually planned probably like 2 weeks, sometimes a week in advance, but mostly like 2 weeks in advance. She'll message me and ask, what are you doing on this particular morning in 2 weeks' time? Do you have time to catch up for breakfast? And so she'll give me plenty of time in advance,
two
and
weeks though.
then, I can put that in my diary, and she'll put that in her diary, and we'll meet up on this morning. I've also noticed it's the same for play dates for my kids. German parents always like to plan play dates quite far in advance, as well as
Okay.
birthday parties. You could get a birthday party invitation like 2 months before the actual children's birthday. And so, yeah, this gives you plenty of time to plan, and it's just so German. Also on the same topic,
But I mean, it's super beneficial. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I hate last minute stuff. So, like, I don't necessarily plan too much. I mean, well, I can't say like we have the Netherlands trip coming up next April, but for the most part, outside of that one thing, I don't plan stuff 2 months in advance normally, you know, but I don't do last minute either.
Topic, another cultural difference between New Zealanders and Germans is that I've noticed New Zealanders will say things like, oh, let's catch up really soon, and they may not have any intention of actually catching up with you. Like, they will just say that out of habit or just for something to say.
And that same can be said for some Americans. You'll have the same thing here. It's just, it sounds great in the moment, but when it comes down to it, you can't be bothered to actually go through with it. Like that just seems to be the mentality here, because real life happens and you get busy with this, get busy with that, you know. I can relate to that somewhat.
And if you say that to a German, oh, let's catch up really soon, they will be expecting for you to call and, arrange something.
And they'd be offended if you didn't, you know. So yeah, so if you're going to any country, you want to, because it's something that you wouldn't think of yourself, right? So much, you know, because it's like, oh, I'm just used to doing it this kind of way here. You go to another country and you could just accidentally be offending somebody without the intention to be offending them in any way, shape, or form, just because of the fact that you didn't research up on the cultural differences and stuff like that. It's always a good advice to do a lot of research on the country you're going to, not just about the country and places to go, which is what most people focus on, but the culture norms. That's a huge one. You want to check into the culture norms, as well as the spots that you're going to vacation or the holiday at, or whatever you want to call it.
Really soon. This has happened quite a few times with Germans. I've said, let's catch up soon, or let's get our kids together soon for a play date. And that person has messaged me like a few days later and said, oh, you wanted to catch up. What day should we catch up? And I kind of just said it for the sake of it. I didn't actually mean we're going to catch up really soon, which is so ridiculous when I think about it. Definitely an
Yeah.
unspoken, unwritten rule here in Germany is just follow through with what you say or mean what you say. Okay,
All right.
so moving on, this unspoken, unwritten rule I learnt pretty early on when I moved to Germany because I was working as a nanny for 2 German children. Always make sure your child is wearing a hat and shoes when they are outside. No matter the weather, they always have to be wearing shoes and a hat. I may be over exaggerating a little bit here, but I've noticed that German parents are very adamant that their children wear appropriate shoes and headgear for the weather. So if it is
I feel like I've heard this before, and it's like, you should. It's good advice. Keep those UV rays off your face. You know, you'll age better. Your skin will be healthier. Um, Maybe we could all learn something from it. You know.
winter, they are wearing winter boots and they are wearing a thick woolen hat. And then when it is springtime or autumn time, they are also wearing the appropriate footwear and they're wearing like a thinner hat, say like a little beanie out of just fabric, so not a woolly one. Then when it gets a
Right.
little bit warmer, the child is wearing a sun hat, maybe one with a big rim around it, or a cap, usually with a flap at the back to protect their neck. And they're wearing sandals, like really good quality leather sandals, and never bare feet. Like, not like in New Zealand, you will see kids running around with bare feet all the time. No big deal, it's just part of our Kiwi culture. In Germany, it's just like a big no-no if your child is wearing bare feet. Oh my goodness. My kids love to wear bare feet, and sometimes I let them and I get really weird looks. I even get told off and people saying
Oh,
that
I'm
your child
sure.
needs to be wearing shoes. I've talked about this before in videos. Also, when it comes to being inside, children and
Different culture though. The same person that's shouting at her saying your kid needs shoes, that same person would not go to New Zealand and be saying that to other people. When they get to New Zealand, you know, they would realize, okay, everybody's like that here, and you know, and just kind of relax just a little bit.
Germany, like most children, wear Hausschuhe, so slippers. And my children don't wear slippers, they don't like wearing them. And when Luca, my youngest, started kindergarten recently, one of the rules is you have to wear slippers, and he did not want to wear the slippers, and it was a real problem. It's like, he can wear his socks, that's fine. I gave him some non-slip socks. The teacher said to me he really needs to wear his house shoes just in case he gets a chill or he slips or something falls on his foot, and luckily he wears them now, but it was not easy to get him in them.
Yeah, it's not like that here either. I feel like it's closer to the way it is in New Zealand, the way it is here in America. It's not. I mean, yeah, sure, some people wear house shoes, but it's not like a standard thing that everybody's expected to.
Okay, another unwritten rule here in Germany. This is probably really silly, and maybe this is just something I've noticed, and it's not groundbreaking or anything, but something I've noticed is that in Germany, it's really unacceptable to go outside with wet hair. It is just not done here in Germany, and I noticed
Huh.
this when my daughter went to swimming lessons, and all of the parents after swimming lessons were drying their children's hair off and making sure their hair was bone dry before they went outside. And for me, I was just going to tie Amelia's hair up like wet. I was just going to towel dry
Yeah.
it off a little bit and tie it up in a ponytail. But I noticed that no other parent was doing this. They were making sure their children's hair was completely dry. I guess this makes sense, but
Huh.
I don't think it's a big deal for a child to go outside with their hair a little bit wet. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't, I mean, here too, saying, now I get it if it's cold, maybe it's, close to winter time, stuff like that. Sure, you have people say, don't go outside, you'll get sick, you'll catch a cold. Middle of summer, warm outside, stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, every country though, every country is different. It's interesting to see the differences in the culture shocks.
Maybe I'm crazy thinking that. Also, when my daughter Amelia was little, I would always use a spray bottle, just a spray water bottle when I was doing her hair, just to kind of get all the bumps out. And I just felt like, I don't know, I was just used to doing her hair with a spray bottle,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'd just make it a little bit damp and sort of slick it back and do all sorts of styles. But she would always get comments from other kids saying, "Why is your hair wet?" And it would really bother her. And it wasn't like soaking wet, it was just a little bit damp,
Right,
and it would
yeah.
have dried in a few seconds, well, a few minutes. But she did not like it. To this day, I'm not allowed to put water anywhere near her hair. Even if I like dip the comb in water to slick it back, she won't let me, because she has these horrible memories of kids like not teasing her but just questioning her about having wet hair. And when you're a kid, you don't want to be different, and yeah,
No.
she will never let me live that down. So I don't know, I feel like Germans just have a thing about having wet hair outside the house. Also, a few times I
Why? Like, I mean, again, the winter time makes sense. When it's cold, makes sense. Middle of summer, let me know. Let us know. Let us all know. How is it? Like, is that a thing? Maybe it's not a thing, and some people just read too much into stuff. I don't know. I'm not there. I didn't experience it like she did. She's the one telling the story. But is that all of Germany, or is it just a little area that she's in, right?
would just come out of the shower and just like tie my wet hair up, and I'd be like going to the supermarket or something, and my husband would be like, "Oh, are you going to leave with your hair wet? Don't you want to dry it off a little bit?" And I'd be like, "No, it's fine." And he's like, "Okay." Like, but I could tell it just wasn't really socially acceptable in Germany to go outside with your hair wet. So
I wonder if her husband's German.
yeah, just something silly I've noticed. Okay, so another unspoken, unwritten rule I've noticed here in Germany is you always should finish what is on your plate.
I
And
always
it is
try.
considered pretty rude if you leave a big portion of your food, especially.
In the United States, it depends on where you're from. My family's from the South, like Southern kind of Appalachian Mountain area, and then on my dad's side, like Arkansas area. Both Southern, considered Southern states, right? And both places, that's how it is. Don't waste food. Just clear what's on your plate. Other places, other around here, Northern Indiana, Midwest, this and that, some, it just depends on the family, I guess. But I don't like it. I don't like people wasting food necessarily, but like, yeah,
and it is considered pretty rude if you leave a big portion of your food, especially if you are going to somebody's place for dinner, or even if you're at a restaurant, you should
Yeah.
really finish your plate. I've noticed with New Zealanders, if people are full and they don't feel like eating anymore, it is totally normal and acceptable to leave the leftovers on your plate, and you don't have to eat them, and they will be thrown away. And in Germany, this is kind of like a no.
We get a box because we don't like to waste. We don't let it go to waste. We say, hey, we need a box. We get like a box and take the rest home if need be. Um, Again, not everybody. I do. Normally, I can clear my plate anyway, but sometimes you get big portions here. If you get like a massive fajita, steak fajita at a Mexican restaurant, and sometimes you're taking the other half home because they give you some big portions, and it's amazing, and I want it now.
Ago. I've talked about this in another video, but something I noticed pretty soon after moving to Germany is that it's just not acceptable to leave huge amounts of food on your plate to be
Right.
thrown away. And my husband pointed this out when I would leave food on my plate. He'd say it's actually quite wasteful
Yeah,
to
it
not
is.
finish your plate, and I noticed he would always finish his plate. And I feel like Germans, they will only put on their plate what they can eat, and New Zealand.
Why would you not? Why would you not? I agree. Million, thousand, quadrillion, billion, whatever the biggest number is, higher than that, whatever percent. Okay, 100% agree. Why would you not? Why would you get like, oh, well, and wait? No, if you if you didn't get enough and you're still hungry, guess what? You can go back and get more, right? Why would you get more and waste it when you? I agree with the Germans. I'm on board with this one.
I feel like Germans, they will only put on their plate what they can eat, and New Zealanders, they will just pile a whole lot of food on their plate even if they can't finish it. I
Why would you?
also noticed
Why would
at
you do that though?
smorgasbord restaurants, like all you can eat restaurants, Germans are very, very mindful about how much food they put on their plate. And so they don't have the mindset that this is all I can eat, I can pile my plate up, I don't have to finish it. They will only put on their plate what they can eat.
I mean, don't get me wrong. At an all-you-can-eat restaurant, sometimes I'll still pile my plate up, but I try to eat it all. I still try to eat it all. I still don't try to. Sometimes, now I have been guilty sometimes at all-you-can-eat restaurants, going a little overboard and ending up wasting some. I have done that. At an all-you-can-eat place, you can't get the take-home box because it's like otherwise people would just load up an extra plate just to take home for later and get an extra meal. So they don't let you do that, but
Okay, so another unspoken rule in Germany is if you are at somebody's house, a German's house, and they offer you something, say a piece of cake or a coffee or something like that,
take it.
you make sure you say yes if you want that, because
It's
if
rude.
you say no, they will take your word for it and you won't be asked again. In New
Oh, yeah.
Zealand, if you're asked the same question and you say no, we won't believe you, and we will ask you like 5 times. And
And that's how it is in the United States. In a lot of places, because sometimes it's like, no, I'm good, and they mean like, no, I'm good right now. You know what I'm saying? Half an hour later, hey, you sure you don't want a drink? And you double check, ask again. Yeah.
in case you were just saying that, in Germany, just no means no. And yeah, Germans have very clear boundaries when it comes to yes and no. You just have to be aware that no means no in Germany, yes means yes. If you feel like a coffee, then say that you do, or you won't be offered it again.
Ever again.
Okay, so an unspoken rule you should always know if you live in Germany is to have at least one bottle of mineral sparkling water, preferably the bubbly type, in your home in case a German guest comes over. So
Okay.
I learnt this the hard way. I have had my children's friends over or German guests over, and I have not had any sparkling water, and they have been disappointed, particularly the children. Many Germans, when they think of water, like drinking water, they automatically think of bubbly, sparkling water, and it's just a little
Hmm.
bit socially unacceptable to not have that to offer to your guests if they come over. And so this has
Okay.
happened to me quite a few times. I don't drink the sparkling water very often, and so I don't often have it in my
I don't
house.
drink it either.
And I lately have been always making sure to buy some just to have in case I have guests over. We often have German children over at our place for play dates, and you know, if they want a glass of water, they most likely are asking for sparkling mineral water, and so I like to have that for them.
So what happens if you just give them regular water? They look at it and be like, "No, I said water. I want water." And you're confused because you're holding a glass of water.
When I have my Kiwi friend, my New Zealand friend over, she asks for tap water. And in New Zealand, if you ask for a glass of water at somebody's house, you just expect to be given tap water. So that's totally normal. But in
Right.
Germany, it's pretty rude to give somebody tap water unless they're a New Zealander. Also, when it comes to ordering water at a restaurant, don't expect to get tap water. And if you ask for tap water, be prepared to be looked at kind of weirdly. Once in a while, I'll go out for dinner with my group of native English speaking expat friends. And one of my friends in particular, she's from the UK, she just only likes drinking tap water, Leitungswasser. And she will always ask for that at the restaurant. And she will always be given a weird look. I remember last time she asked for this, she was given a look of sort of disbelief from the waitress. She was like, kind of, are you sure you want tap water? And she was like, yes, I am sure. And she's just really adamant that she wants the tap water. And I mean, it's a little bit socially unacceptable in Germany. She doesn't care. She knows that it is, but she doesn't care. But if you're somebody that does
Huh.
care about this kind of thing, then make sure you don't ask for tap water at a restaurant in Germany.
Why? I know there's some real Germans in that comment section, guys. Can you please explain why the regular tap water is just something that's like, now I understand, person wanting sparkling and people just, it's common to have sparkling water around. I mean, not saying that that's how it is here. I understand that, if that's your culture and that's your thing, sure. But to just, nobody drinks tap water. I mean, nobody really does here either, I guess. Like, now that I think about it, maybe you'd be looked at weird if you asked for tap water here somewhere too. I don't know. I want explanations though, okay?
So anyway, guys, I have come to the end of this video.
We
I
sure
really hope
have.
you enjoyed it. It was just a fun, sort of light-hearted video. If you
Yeah,
enjoyed this video, then don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. It really helps out my
I did.
channel. Also, I just wanted to say thank you so much for helping me reach 60,000 subscribers. I can't
Congratulations. That was last year. But anyways, Antoinette Emily. I'm gonna go ahead and subscribe to her channel. And links down below for the original video if you guys want to go over there and subscribe to her channel as well. Thanks for watching. Let me know about the whole water situation in Germany and the wet hair thing in the middle of summer. If it's like super hot out, the wet hair thing, why not? Go outside with your hair wet. It'll dry outside in like 5 minutes. Unless you got dreadlocks like I used to, then it would still be like 5 hours later and it'd be wet. Legit. Like that surprised me a few times. But anyways, you guys have a super fun, awesome day. Catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye.